Welcome to the Echo Essentials podcast.
I'm Dave Dale.
And I'm Scott Clark. Today we're talking politics. Of course, the provincial election has been called, Dave, and we're into it. This is one of the things as a journalist you absolutely love, right? This is the time when journalists are like, they love to roll up their sleeves and get into it.
Yeah, well, this one's going to be a sprint compared to some that are a marathon, so it should be interesting.
Yeah, so we have a few things coming up with that. We'll talk about that in just a couple of minutes. But before we get there, we want to thank you for listening. We want to thank you for watching as well. And we want to remind you to help us grow our show. There's a couple of things you could do. Hit the like or subscribe button if you're watching this on YouTube. And if you're on Apple or Spotify, give us a shout out and let us know what you think about the show as well. And the most important thing is the people who sponsor the show, make sure they're local, and let's make sure you pop by and also visit them as well. So this show is happening with our great sponsor today, Source for Sports.
Sports aren't just what we do, they're who we are. Source for Sports North Bay is your advocate, your local support system, and your biggest fan. 1321 Fisher Street has grown from a place where knowledgeable experts can help you find exactly the gear you need, to the hotbed of team uniforms, apparel and fanwear, to a community stronghold for all the things that truly matter to you and your family's sports journey. We love helping you find your first pair of skates, as much as we relish supporting local leagues, teams, and athletes. Wherever your sports journey takes you, make sure you visit Source for Sports North Bay at 1321 Fisher Street so we can help you along your way.
Well, Dave, you have a smile on your face. It must mean that it's time for politics. Is this when election is called? Is it something you get excited about?
Well, it does get the blood going. Not that it's exciting, like, yay. It's more like, hey, I got to go to work and I'm going to have to read a lot of stuff that hardly makes sense and seems repetitive. And I've seen so many. So there's this real psychological thing probably reporters go through. It's like, I've been here before and I don't like it.
So let's talk about the candidates. So this provincial election called by Doug Ford was looking for a mandate based on, the new Trump presidency and the tariffs that have now been implemented. And they need a new mandate to make sure that they're going to fight toe-to-toe with these Trump tariffs.
Did you see the word I used to describe the excuse for the election? Is ostensibly. And what that
when
means,
you use big words, I'm out.
Ostensibly means, that's the excuse he's putting out, but it doesn't really hold water. And the reason why some people would say that is because there's been a lot of talk about him wanting an early election since last summer.
Right.
So, yes, this is what triggers. This is the platform, the slogan.
So why would? So here's the thing, right? So, of course he's going to say that.
Yeah.
It makes total sense.
Politically, as for strategy, it's an issue, yeah.
But why does media get kind of kerfuffled in like, well, that's not really the reason? Well, in the background, yes, the numbers have to be on your side. Someone's not going to just call an election with their numbers stink, right? They're going to wait till the numbers are right, call the election, and then go for a new mandate from the public. So his numbers are strong. He's got a full, because he has enough power in-house right now.
Well, he's got a majority government.
Yeah, he's got a majority government.
And he's got good numbers.
So he could do what he needs to do. But of course, they've been talking about, but somehow, why does the media go, well, that's not really the reason?
Well, that's because everybody does that. When Trudeau called for an early election, and we did the same thing. Right? And it was just a sort of trumped up excuse for it. He wanted a mandate, but he really wanted to, take advantage of an economic situation, pandemic, some other things.
That's how it works. That's why.
And then when he got reelected and he had the coalition, we all said, well, this is not a real mandate. That's what the media do. They rationalize and put some sort of reasonable sort of logic into it instead of just buying what they say.
Right. So I would think that in this next provincial election, that they shouldn't have any trouble forming another government, probably another majority government. Do you see any winds shifting? We'll talk local in just a couple of minutes, but I don't see how they can't get a really strong majority government again.
Well, it's theirs to win, right? It's theirs to lose. That's what I meant.
Theirs to lose.
It's theirs to lose. I'm not as in tune with Greater Metro and Toronto and the Southern Ontario situation, but it kind of. There's a couple of big issues that people don't like about what he has done, and if these are the issues, possibly if the other leaders can really get to it, he's not protecting farmland like we want him to. They might say he's got mega projects that are benefiting people and companies that are his buddies. People can say that they don't agree with the waste of money, like. It's going to cost $660 million or so to rush beer into convenience stores. It might be that move might cost $1.4 billion, right? So those other issues may sort of come up and say, hey, maybe this isn't the right guy for doing it. Maybe
I'm actually that topic, the beer store piece, right, or the moving beer into corner stores and. Like, I don't truly understand it, like why the rush but they must have some data on their side that shows like this is what we want. But it's like it was such a cash cow, I think, for the government, right? Like,
that's why it doesn't make sense.
But things like,
but it makes sense if you own convenience stores.
Oh, yeah.
And those are the people...
They'll totally benefit. Like,
yeah, so...
I was down at the Circle K down in Marshall Park, and it's like, it's a beer store.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know where all the other stuff was.
There's one on every corner. It's very convenient.
It's a beer store now. It's just, I'm like, wow, that's incredible.
And I'm willing to bet people that are in business, that own convenience stores, that have a very, small business retail store, they're conservative, and they donate to his party.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's who it benefits. It doesn't benefit anybody else.
Well, I'm sure people like
alcoholics, maybe.
People like the convenience of it, I guess. But I don't know. I always thought it was actually fairly easy to get a beer if you needed a beer or you needed whatever. So it's interesting why that is. But I think that narrative you were saying earlier on about, giving jobs to his buddies, like come on, like. That happens in all relationships and stuff happen in all forms of politics.
But it depends on how many zeros are attached, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So the Peterson government was brought down over Ontario Place and his buddies, right?
Yeah.
And
so we shouldn't possibly let it happen again. We are, right? Like there's just because they did it doesn't mean they should do it.
No, but I think the narrative sometimes spins that the Conservatives do it more so than the Liberals. But I don't know. The virtue signaling from the Liberal side, I think, is a little much.
What Liberal side? I have to ask, because we don't even have a candidate in Nipissing yet. And I read the platform for the Ontario Liberal Party, and it wasn't very inspiring.
So how or who do you think, who's running against, first of all, Vic Fedeli's already thrown his hat in the ring, and he was out this past week. He was out, actually, which I thought was brilliant. It was out at the Ice Huts in Callender Bay. That was that's actually awesome. That's cool. And but who's going to run, what do you know about the candidates running against him?
Very little, actually. Lauren Mick from Mattawa was just announced as the NDP candidate. He's a councillor there. Very progressive person. Young guy. The other one is Colton Chaput, I believe, for the Green Party. Fourth-year nursing student. He's going to be a registered nurse. He's involved with the community. I've never heard of him before, but that doesn't mean much, whatever level he's operating at. But no Liberal to throw to the wolves, because, really, it's hard to fathom anybody beating Vic.
Agreed.
It's hard to fathom that.
I'm
open to the concept, but...
Is it a possibility that the Liberals would even have someone to run?
That would be a first, eh?
Would it be a first? You've covered this for years. I can't remember.
I can't remember a Liberal, never having a Liberal candidate
to stand up.
Yeah, like we even had, what was it, Dr. Catherine Whiting?
Yeah.
She took the hit, and then who else?
Was that Vic's first run?
I think so.
Dr. Whiting?
Yeah, I think so.
So Vic is so strong in this riding. You're right what you said. It's like I don't see, and I know all candidates you don't go in, because I've seen candidates in the past where you think this is going to be a cakewalk and something happens, right? It has happened before. I can't see it because he's had a strong portfolio, has strong connections, a strong campaign team, all this stuff. I don't know, but I guess there's less pressure maybe.
Yeah, well, he's not somebody to do something half measures.
No.
So he loves campaigning.
He's good at it.
Everything I know about Vic is he loves campaigning because it gives him a chance to brag about what he has done and promise things that he wants to do. And he's really deft at it and dealing with people questioning some of the things that may or may not be as beneficial as he sells them as. The thing about this election, and I could be corrected, but I've never seen, I can't remember when an national thing was such focused on Ontario as we're going to take the biggest of the beatings because of our particular exports and where our business is intertwined with American business. At the same time as a federal overlapping looming election. And often, in Ontario, we sort of we pick PCs when there's a Liberal in power in Ottawa, and then it's reversed, right?
Right.
And so that's all being challenged all at the same time. So this is actually an epic sort of once in a lifetime, I think, election.
Oh, really? Because how this is all going to go down. So let's talk. Let's talk federal for a second, because it's so interesting. I've heard little, things out in the street about different people running, and even on the federal side. And who was it who had an article? Was it Stu over at Bay Today had an article about 3 candidates running or potentially running, or was it the Nugget?
I didn't read that article.
But they didn't say who was running. One was Pauline Rochford.
Yeah, you mean for the Liberal nomination?
Liberal nomination.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry. Yeah, for the Liberal nomination. So there was Pauline Rochford was one.
I've heard that, yeah.
But who are the other 2? Do we know?
I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But who...
It's good that they'd have 3 people that want to do it.
Right.
That's excellent. And that would be something they would want to engineer if they had to, because it shows involvement and willingness and to go forward like that. So that would be interesting. Yeah, that would be interesting.
Because I actually watched that. I didn't know anything about Carney, who's leading the sort of leadership run at this point. I didn't know much about him. And then I saw him on Jon Stewart's show, The Daily Show. He was really good.
Yeah, but he punted and looked really bad when he announced in Ontario after that. Yeah.
It was so weird. It was so good on Jon Stewart's show. I like that guy, and he's super smart.
Yeah, and then he announced.
And then when he announced, I go, he's terrible.
He's wet-legged. Yeah, I know.
I went, oh my gosh, what are you doing?
Well, that's the thing about charisma and charm, right? Trump. People go by how they feel. Right? Not really look at...
but the guy must be super smart, like what he's done. He's no dummy, right? When it comes to, not only the Bank of Canada, but...
I saw somebody say that Carney looked smart with Stewart because Stewart's smart, and then because he was in front of media, he looked dumb.
Interesting.
But I think it was in knowing that he wasn't in a friendly place, which is a good test.
So if people are talking politics, you have to go to Twigs. That's where it all happens. Do you like during an election, will you go into Twigs and stuff and go to some of the tables and...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. There's like these little groups and they talk all politics.
Well, there's a couple. Yeah. That's the number one place.
Well, while you're there talking politics, why don't you enjoy some great coffee? It's fresh roasted every day in-house right there. And sometimes you can have the aroma as you get closer and closer. 5 locations, which not only includes North Bay, but also Sturgeon Falls and Sudbury as well. Check out their espresso bar, gourmet deli, irresistible baked goods, including gluten-free options as well. And then I'm sure Garth Goodhue and all the different political beings will be around there. You can enjoy your coffee and get brought up to speed. So order online for quick pickup at twigs.ca, and coming soon, you'll be able to order fresh roasted coffee beans direct to your doorstep from their distribution center right here in North Bay. Twigs Coffee Roasters, one of our great sponsors here at the Echo Essentials Network.
It's time to Toyota at North Bay Toyota. Attention truck lovers. Have you been Tundra-struck? The powerful and dependable Toyota Tundra is the new definition of grit. Ask us about amazing lease deals on a 2025 Tundra Double Cab SR 4-wheel drive and experience ingenious levels of capability, technology, and refinement. Or maybe you're an SUV lover? Take advantage of a limited shipment of 2025 RAV4s and discover the perfect blend of style, comfort, and efficiency in a compact SUV that ignites your desire to explore. Right now, get excellent lease deals on the Toyota RAV4 LE all-wheel drive and more. It's time to Toyota at North Bay Toyota, 640 McEwen, or online at northbaytoyota.com for details.
Dave, what do you know about Cassidy Villeneuve running for the Conservatives for the Feds?
Young woman, Cassidy Villeneuve is, I think she went to high school here, bit growing up here, works in Ottawa. That's all I know. Word on the street is just, and this can be dispelled with probably a podcast interview, just going to do whatever the party in Ottawa tells her.
Right.
And I think that's what
tell me,
Rhoda was actually getting at. He's when we asked him what would make a good candidate, he said somebody that's going to take our issues in Nipissing to Ottawa and not bring us back the edicts from Ottawa to Nipissing. So that's what's going to be used against her and whoever ends up being the Liberal federal candidate here. Are you going to fight for us, or are you going to fight for their mandate? And their agenda?
Because isn't she, I think I understood, like she works closely currently with Polyev, right? Yeah. So that's the weak spot, right?
That'd be the weak spot. And that, people will bring up her age is an issue. She's a young woman. Maybe not, usually when that's brought up.
What's a young woman? Like, what is that?
She's in her 20s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But let me do the other side of that coin, though. Someone who's really close to potentially, if they were successful, the prime minister, you have access now to drive more things to your riding.
And that's what she will bring back, right? She'll say, hey, I have his year, and yes, I'm for their agenda, and but I'm also for the riding, and I'm actually going to get to know people here. And
do you have to, I always thought you had to live here. Do you not have to live here to run?
You have to have an address.
Okay, so she must have an address then. Because in my head, I thought she lived in Ottawa. But I guess, okay. So I'm sure that'll all be fleshed out as we get closer to it.
Well, we can ask Mark King what the rules are for getting through the nomination.
That actually would be a really good interview. About. I wonder how much Mark would share about all that. Or was it against her that he ran?
No, actually... he lost the nomination to the lady as councillor in Callender. Oh, Christ.
You can ask me to Google something again.
No, it'll come to me. But he wanted to run, and he was disqualified. And I just delivered a magazine to him. Jody Carr.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's a councillor in Callender. And she got the nomination instead of him, and that's when he went to the dark side there.
Yeah. What does that mean, went to the dark side?
He ran with that other PPC party.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I forgot all about that.
Yeah. And I'm just kidding about the dark side for you PPC people there. I know a couple of them.
Is that party still exist?
Yeah.
Oh, it does?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so.
So it potentially could run again or in this riding?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Let's get back to, so here's what we know. What about Lougheed? Wasn't Lougheed running for the NDP? Was it under the provincial banner or was it the federal banner that Lougheed was running? She was quite active. And then she got on the school board, and then she's gone kind of quiet since leaving the school board.
Yeah. That's what happens, right?
Yeah. Do you know if it was federal or provincial? No. So it's interesting.
There's been so many elections. Actually, my ability to keep all of those details is waning with age.
Starting to show.
Yeah.
So, okay, but we'll get to, so probably the federal election will happen. So what I think it's March 6th, they announce who the new leader is for the Liberals. Then they have to resume Parliament again, and then there'll be a non-confidence vote, and then off we go, right? So
didn't you do the campaigns for some of these parties?
In the past, yeah, it was. They paid
so your memory's
you didn't do it for free,
just like mine.
What's that?
Your memory is slipping just like mine.
No, I remember.
Well, you were asking me.
Yeah, no, I remember. What do you want to know?
Was Lougheed provincial or federal?
I wasn't involved in that campaign at all.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know that it was. I did the last one I did. I think I helped Anthony Road out in one of his campaigns.
Oh, yeah.
So that was the last one I did. Yeah.
What's it like working a campaign? Like for marketing and doing that kind of stuff?
The thing that's really what I've said to the team when we've been asked to get involved is, from a communication standpoint, what's really cool about it is that you really have 6 weeks to create a narrative and see if you can move a needle on it. That's all you got. It's 6 weeks, where in traditional marketing and communications, you have an infinite amount of time to see needle move or the cash register sort of ring or whatever it happens to be. So that's exciting. And then you have some highly passionate people that are all coming to the table to, get involved and make things happen. So we've been involved in lots, like from municipal politics, federal, I think, and provincial. We've done all. But I'll tell you, I'll go back to Vic for a second. I remember when I think he first ran for mayor, we used this office as a call center, because at the time we had phones everywhere, right? And so people would come in and would it's a machine. What's really cool is it's a machine in the background.
Yeah.
When it's done right, and traditionally the Liberals have been really, really good at it with the, I want to say Keith Pacey, right? Keith Pacey, Gavin, Peter Gavin.
Right.
And Garth Goodhue. They were sort of like the Dave Sads, like the money guy, they call it, right? Where he goes out and raises money. Like the machine in the background and how they get the vote out. That's how you win, is getting the vote out. Everybody says, oh, marketing's a big thing. No, it's the machine of getting the vote out. Calling up people who have either voted Conservative, Liberal, NDP in the past. Hey, you're going to call again? And a lot of people don't realize this, but then you have people at the polling station knowing that, let's say if Dave has voted Liberal in the past, that we haven't seen Dave come to the polls yet today. If someone gets on the phone, hey, Dave, are you going to vote today? They don't ask you how you're going to vote. They basically say, can we get you a ride? Can we get you to the poll? It's actually it's whoever makes their machine the best.
Right.
And I think the tiny bit that the marketing does is moving the needle and positioning for how to sway that vote ever so slightly. As far as provincial goes, we should have a Conservative riding again. I think Vic should slide in fairly easy. Yeah. Do you think he'll do the debates?
Well, I think so. I believe so, because he does. He believes in the democratic process. He believes in politics, and he's not going to hide.
No.
I don't think he'll do every one that somebody wants to ask. And there's some special interest groups that create a debate scenario, and they always leave a chair open for him because he's not going to go to that, right? And I think people use that against him, but I think he has to go to at least one.
Yeah,
at least
it'll for sure.
And I think it's a matter of...
it's just I feel for the people that are going to be debating against him, the two candidates. He's just so seasoned.
Well, it'd be a learning thing.
It would be a learning curve for sure. He's so good.
I sometimes tried to imagine what it'd be like if I was up there debating him, because I write columns sometimes thinking like I can maneuver
do
like
that?
he can. I would be very intimidated, even with, a whole lot of undeserved courage. So I'm not afraid of much, but that would be intimidating.
That would
he's
be
sharp.
intimidating.
He's sharp.
So sharp.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think who, Stephen, he ran for the Liberals provincially against Vic. He used to run the DARE program down in Trout Creek when he was really, really good. Like just from a knowledge standpoint, he could go toe to toe. But I don't think came close, but it was interesting. You need to be at that level of intellect to go toe to toe and know the numbers and information because that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, you better have your information good if you're going to challenge Vic on something. So,
well, it's interesting to see what's going to happen. We hope to have the candidates coming in one after the other so we can interview them, talk about the issues. Vic said he said to you that he would like to come in and do a show with us.
Yeah, we have a potential date that he's got to confirm, so that's good.
That's good. So looking forward to that, and I hope that happens in the next little bit. Because when is the actual election? The end
February
of February?
27th.
Okay, so we have X number of days to get there, and hopefully we can get him in here.
Well, the politics is forcing people to pay attention, and I like the way Canadians are responding. A lot of people online are deciding to buy Canadian only. Mm-hmm. They're looking at labels. They're organized in that way. I was watching Doug Ford's press conference this morning, and he was talking about a lot of things that sort of made sense about, we have to change where we get our supplies and parts, and we have to become, like the Liberals say, tariff resistant, so that this isn't a big issue going forward.
Yeah, and really, it hasn't been an issue in our lifetime, right? This type of tariff war, but it literally is. It becomes sort of this economic war that starts to happen. So it'll be really interesting to see how this plays out over the next month or so. It doesn't. I've heard economists. I hear what some of them are saying. I watched the one on 60 Minutes talking about how it helps their economy, but I'm like, I don't know. Those costs those go right to the consumer. Right?
Well, the top people in the states that deal directly with the provinces, they're pleading with Trump to realize that it's going to cost their constituents for power, fuel, and necessities, because that's where their supply lines are. So.
And I wouldn't think like Canada in the three that are getting really tariffed, right? China, Mexico, and Canada. I don't think Canada is the bigger player in that. With respect to just our standards of living and everything here, the only reason why you can get it so much cheaper here is they get 30 to 40 cents on the dollar now, right? So that's where Americans benefit from that. But Mexico has cheap labor. China has really cheap labor. It's like. So I don't know how fighting us makes any sense.
Well, it's a matter of, and some people have a different opinion, but a bully likes to bully. And that's how I view Trump. And he's using us as a whipping boy. Mm-hmm. See, this is what we do even to our best friends. But that's the message being sent out around the world. So everybody else is looking for other friends because they can't count on the United States being a good friend. And that's where he's losing. He thinks he might be winning, but that's where he's losing.
That's been another Echo Essentials podcast.
I'm Dave Dale.
And I'm Scott Clark. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again soon.